The sun was dipping low over the quiet cul-de-sacs of Willow Creek, a cozy little suburb in Raleigh, North Carolina, on a balmy evening in July 2024. I was out back, hose in hand, watering my zinnias, feeling the weight of a long day of client pitches and design mock-ups lift off my shoulders. As an interior designer, I pour my heart into making other people's homes beautiful, but there's nothing like coming back to my own slice of Pisea backyard where the fireflies start their dance at dusk and the air smells faintly of jasmine from the neighbor's fence. That evening, the world felt right, with the golden light catching the water spray, turning it into fleeting rainbows. My grandpa, Walter, was holding court on our front porch, perched in his creaky rocking chair, sipping black coffee from a chipped mug that never left his side. At 78, Walter's turned people-watching into an art form, his old Marine Corps instincts still sharp, cataloging every jogger, delivery van, and stray cat in our neighborhood like he's guarding a forward operating base. He's been with us since Nana passed 3 years ago, and having a guy who can spot a suspicious mailbox from a mile away feels like a secret weapon most days. That fragile calm shattered when I heard clipped, officious voices at our front gate. I shut off the hose and rounded the house, my stomach already nodding. There was Evelyn Harper, the Homeowners Association president, decked out in a burgundy blazer with an HOA pin glinting like a sheriff's badge. Next to her stood Marcus Tate, her enforcer, clutching a clipboard and sporting combat boots that looked ready for a war zone, not a suburban lawn inspection. Marcus, built like a linebacker, was scanning our property through the wrought iron gate like he was planning a raid. Evelyn's voice dripped with fake sweetness as she announced they needed immediate access to check for shrub height violations based on some new rule passed at a meeting I'd never heard about. I stepped up, still gripping the hose, and asked to see a court order. Evelyn's smile vanished like smoke. She gave Marcus a quick nod, and he started climbing our 6-foot gate like it was a training exercise, his boots clanging against the metal. I squeezed the hose so hard it hissed, matching the fury building in my chest. From the porch, Walter drawled, "Didn't know our gate was open for public climbing lessons." Marcus ignored him, dropped into our yard with a thud that rattled my flower beds, and started scribbling notes, snapping photos, and get this, marking our patio stones with red chalk like he was staking a claim. When I demanded to know what he thought he was doing, he didn't even look up, just kept writing like I was invisible. Evelyn stood outside, acting like this was all perfectly normal. 20 minutes later, Marcus scaled back over the gate, leaving those chalk marks like scars on my patio. They walked off, Evelyn's heels clicking with smug satisfaction, and I stood there wondering if I'd just imagined the whole thing. 3 days later, an envelope landed in our mailbox on a muggy Thursday morning, July 18th, 2024. Official HOA letterhead, my name in cold, bureaucratic font, and a $1,500 fine for non-compliant landscaping, shrubs too tall by an inch, grass uneven, in spots I'd never noticed, and a gate supposedly peeling paint. The photos attached looked like they'd been staged to make our yard look like a jungle, taken when we weren't home. Walter read the notice over his coffee, his face unreadable, then said, "We need cameras." Now, that afternoon, I shelled out $400 for a high-def doorbell camera with motion sensors and night vision, feeling like I was arming up for a siege over a few bushes. My paranoia paid off when Marcus showed up 2 days later, on Saturday, July 20th, dressed as a utility worker complete with a fake logoed vest and a tool belt that screamed, "I printed this badge at home." The camera caught him tossing candy wrappers by our trash cans, then photographing the violation he'd just created. Another envelope arrived Monday, this one claiming $3,000 total in fines, with timestamps that made no sense, like they'd snapped photos before Marcus even showed up. I hit the books hard that weekend, digging into Raleigh's property laws and HOA regulations. Turns out, climbing fences without a court order is criminal trespassing. Chalk on my patio, vandalism, photos without consent, privacy violation. Meanwhile, Walter was holed up in the garage, tinkering with wires and gadgets that looked like they belonged in a sci-fi movie, not a retiree's workshop. On Tuesday, July 23rd, another letter Ayurveda lien notice demanding $3,000 within 24 hours or they'd seize our house. I sank into a kitchen chair, feeling like the world was closing in. Walter studied the paper, his eyes hard, and said, "Evelyn thinks she can take our home. She's about to learn who she's dealing with." That afternoon, Mrs. Larson from Maple Drive knocked on our door, her face pale, clutching a folder. She spilled a story that made my blood run cold. Evelyn had pulled the same stunt on her family 2 years ago: fake violations, escalating fines, and a forced sale at half their home's value. Her folder held proof of 6 other families targeted the same way, their homes snapped up by Evelyn's HOA at bargain prices. This wasn't overzealous rule enforcement, it was organized theft. Walter pored over her documents, nodding like he'd just cracked a code. That night, Marcus called at 10:45 p.m., warning of a surprise inspection the next evening. When I pointed out that inspections need legal notice, he laughed and hung up. Walter was already up, hauling professional-grade video gear and folders labeled with terms like countermeasures. I didn't know whether to feel safe or scared out of my mind. At 2:37 a.m. on Wednesday, July 24th, my phone buzzed with motion alerts. The camera feed showed Evelyn and Marcus at our gate, dressed as cops' badges, radios, the works carrying bolt cutters, and forged paperwork. Walter was ready, his own cameras rolling from the living room window. When Marcus touched the gate with his cutters, a blue arc of electricity lit up the night, and he screamed like he'd been hit by lightning. The cutters flew into my roses, and Evelyn started yelling about lawsuits, but her voice cracked as porch lights flicked on across the street. Walter stepped outside, calm as ever, and said, "This footage shows everything: trespassing, impersonation, attempted vandalism." The doorbell cam had already uploaded to the cloud and pinged the Raleigh PD. 2 patrol cars rolled up within minutes, catching Evelyn and Marcus trying to slip away by the mailboxes. Their fake badges didn't fool anyone. Marcus was cuffed on the spot, and Evelyn's excuses fell apart when the cops found her forged warrants. Marcus spent a night in lockup before Evelyn's lawyer bailed him out. By Thursday, July 25th, Evelyn was on social media, wielding a neon green microphone, standing in front of our house, and painting us as unhinged vigilantes who'd rigged a death trap gate. She filed a $75,000 lawsuit, claiming Marcus suffered burns and trauma. Neighbors turned on us. Mrs. Conway wouldn't even look at me, and delivery drivers started avoiding our street. During Evelyn's live stream, someone cut our doorbell camera's wires, leaving it dangling like a broken promise. A subpoena arrived Friday, demanding I appear in court the following Monday, July 29th. I was drowning in stress, but Walter just sipped his coffee and said, "I've got one more play." Sunday night, Walter showed me his ace, a dossier thicker than a phone book, packed with financial records, audio of Evelyn bragging to real estate agents about easy marks, and proof she'd stolen $80,000 in HOA funds for personal luxuries. He'd been working with the FBI for weeks, feeding them evidence of a multi-state HOA scam. At the emergency HOA meeting Monday evening, the community center was a powder keg, 30 neighbors glaring at us like we were the enemy. Evelyn played her part, flashing photos of Marcus's injuries and calling our gate a public hazard. Then Walter took the floor, projecting spreadsheets that showed Evelyn's theft $80,000 siphoned for her new deck and a Bahamas trip disguised as HOA conferences. The room went silent when he played Evelyn's voice, laughing about families too scared to fight her fake fines. His final slide was a federal warrant. FBI agents were outside, waiting. Residents blocked the doors as Evelyn tried to bolt. Votes flew in to oust her, freeze HOA accounts, and invite a full investigation. Tuesday morning, August 6, 2024, FBI agent Ramirez arrived with a task force. Marcus cracked under questioning, spilling that Evelyn ran a network with 7 other HOA presidents across 5 states, netting $3 million in stolen properties. They targeted vulnerable families, new widows, single parents, using fake violations to force foreclosures, then laundered the profits through organized crime. Evelyn got 8 years in federal prison and $3.2 million in restitution. Marcus, 2 years and 500 hours of community service. Our family's legal fees were covered, and we got enough to upgrade our security and fix the patio. Walter was elected interim HOA coordinator, implementing rules requiring owner consent for inspections and transparent finances. Kids play in front yards again, and neighbors wave instead of crossing the street. Standing on our porch now, watching Walter sip his coffee while kids ride bikes without fear, I feel like we didn't just save our home, we broke a machine that preyed on families. The gate still hums softly at night, a quiet reminder of what we survived. But here's where I need your take. Was Walter's electric trap genius or reckless? Should we have gone to the cops sooner, or was catching them red-handed the only way? If your HOA came for your home, would you fight like we did, or walk away? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this hit home, and subscribe if you want to hear more stories of people fighting back. Stay sharp, and keep your yard yours.